My bloody battery's going flat. So, thought I'd chuck the panel out. Charge him up a bit. Yeah, sick. Anyway, much more exciting stuff today. Got some 100 by 100 by 5mm thick steel to do some frame stiffeners on this big girl. Reason that I didn't just buy frame stiffeners is because I'm in Australia and shipping for this shit out of the States was killer, being like heavy and big and whatever. If you are in the States, the current, I don't know what the current price of steel over there is, but the current price of steel here, man, you are just better off buying a frame kit, eh? I think this was $200 just in itself, and you know, you got work on top of that. Depends how much, I don't know, your time is worth to you. I'm not too fussy with that sort of stuff. I'm happy to make this up, be something to film, but seriously consider just getting a kit if you can. Yeah, it's alright. We'll bloody also have a bloody an actual real GoPro, because this is Gav's camera. I don't want to bloody ruin it with the welding and all that jargon, so I try to use me shitty cameras for that sort of stuff. But since we got a real GoPro, it might not have terrible quality on those weld shots, so we'll see. Bleeping Jeep did do a video where he does measure. I think he's customizing some other frame stiffener. It gives you pretty good measurements. I'll do them here. I'll double check what he reckons, double check them on the frame, and I'll let you know how I cut this up. But it shouldn't turn out too bad, I imagine. So let's get right into it. I've just double checked the video, and he recommended 22 3/8 and 29 3/8 to be the cuts. So double check that on the car. The reason I'm using box instead of angle is because I like the rounder edge. I really don't like that square edge. So it's not much of a difference, I know, but I just prefer the round edge. That's why I'm going to cut this box into quarters. And if you don't know why we're doing this at all, if you're unfamiliar with Jeeps, they run a unibody design. I'll bloody show ya. There's no chassis rails. It's just one big shell, like a car. Not much good if you're chucking big tyres on and flexing up. The body twists heaps. Body twists heaps now. You can feel it when you bloody fall bin or whatever. So hopefully this helps out a bit. Should do. And hopefully the audio is not too bad with this bit of rain we got around. I know this mic picks up background noise like there's no tomorrow, so that's why we're doing it. That's what we're doing. Cut some steel up and see how we go. Also, I didn't explain the cuts. It's because there is a drop down in the frame here. You can't really tell that well on camera, but it's certainly enough. Can't really tell that much on camera, but it's certainly enough to not have this boxing fit on that chassis or subframe. Let's get cutting. Now the rain has set in. Our rule of thumb is 5 amps per mil. 5 mil, we're going for 25 amps there. Super simple. Might go a little bit hotter. The dialing it about there. Just all the balance between your air and your amps to try and get a good cut. But we'll do our best. We're just going to cut the corners off of the 2 angles to leave us with 2 nice angles. Get into it. Now I did just make that little cut along that edge with the grinder to get those little little dags that held it together. There wasn't too many. It's in tube's nature to want to either expand or contract when you cut it. Typically it'll try to pull together. So I'd like to keep the guard on my grinder at my face, so if it does grab the wheel and explode, it might not end up in my face. And wear your bloody glasses, mate. So that is what we got. It wasn't too bad. If it was really bad, you'd really see it come in, but stayed pretty square for the most part. I'll rip in the other side. There we go, guys, 2 for 2. Didn't come out too badly, if I might say so myself. Got about an hour before noise restrictions kick in for the area. So let's see how much we get done, I guess. Like, we gotta buzz these back, rip them steps off, and give ourselves a bit of a measure up. Get ready to do them cuts to match the contour of the subframe. Yeah, I think it'll work out alright. Had an early one this morning, so pretty tired. Don't want to go too hard tonight. We'll bloody rip into it again tomorrow, but we'll keep filming till we do call it. So stay tuned. Just hit them with the flappy, knock all them dags off. Come up alright. Not too hard to do. What did make a big difference was turning it up to 30 amps. There's far less dags at 25 amps. Just spitting a bit too much, just needed that little bit of extra heat. To rip them off, a bit of extra heat just to blow through it properly. But yeah, they cleaned up alright. Next thing will be probably ripping the side steps off this big rig, because they actually attach underneath to where we're going. Oh, it's getting a bit too dark in here. Yeah, but they attach to the subframe, so they're not going to be going back on either. We'll do some sliders. Ooh. And it won't be before we go to the springs. It'll be later, but pretty keen to get some sliders. I don't want to knock my seals in, so yeah, we'll do that. We'll get these off now though and keep going. Alrighty, it's a new day. When we left last night, I'm pretty sure I was just scraping that bloody deadener off, so I think we'll go ahead and rip into it with a bit of these just sanding discs on the orbital. Get the rest of that little bits of sound deadener that didn't come off properly. Probably do the other side. I already got a bloke that wants to buy those side steps. I'll probably rip that off. Maybe even first, take some photos so I don't stuff him around too much. Yeah, give him a sand back, and I did do a quick measure. They look like they'll be about 1400 long. I might cut them just over 1400 because you're going to go up on that. You're getting a little kicker in there, so that'll take up a little bit of length. And yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. Rip into it. Try and get this done. Man, if we can get this done today, that'll be sick. We'll see how we go. I did just get in there with the scraper, just underneath both sides and underneath that transfer case. Oh man. I guess my boy's just opened the front gate. Oi! Close it! He thinks it's funny. Wow. So I'm just going to give this a wipe down with some Prep Sol. and spray it with a zinc primer. What do we got over there? Zinc Gal it is. It used to say weld through primer on the pressure pack. Doesn't say that anymore, but I'm hoping it's the same sort of formula. They haven't changed it. It used to be really good. It used to be really good, so when we do muck around with getting the angles and everything, some of it will get scratched, but let's give it another coat before we weld it on there, and so some of it will have 2 coats, which is probably the go. So I guess we'll do that next, and we will get to chopping up the frame stiffeners. How good would it be to have a hoist, eh, instead of lying on the ground? If you are curious as to why we're lying on the ground, it's because I went to do ball joints in this piece of shit the other day, and they're pressed in. Finally found some motivation to get the dog done, and pressed in ball joints. So I was like, nah, had enough. It is a turbo Ecotech with an A340 and a dual cab Triton. Try and get a video. Ooh. So yeah, it's a bit on. It's like a good, I don't even know, mate, 5-6 year bloody project by now. It's gone through different cars, bought the dual cab because the kid was born, so ditched the single cab, got the dual cab. Was driving it around for ages without the turbo on it, then decided to turbo it, whatever. And it's black hole, that thing, just money pit, black hole, bullshit. But, and yeah, obviously I keep buying stuff like this Jeep, just keeps taking my time up. But, apart from that, we will convert, what are all my measurements, 2, 3/8 and 29 3/8. We'll have to convert the freedom units to bloody metric system so I can read them and mark them out on the thing. These have a dummy fit, might even just measure, it's not a real, it's a pretty gradual curve on the frame rail, so we might have to give it like a bit of an estimate. And then yeah, this I'm assuming this will have to come down because I think I measured the frame rail, it's like 80 mil, I think, I don't know, I'll have a look in a sec. So we have the freedom units, millimeters, and these are my estimates on the chassis, where I thought the chassis bent and where it would look good. So they're obviously the frame stiffeners old mate was using come back a little bit further. I'm not too sure what the difference is. 746 minus 568, 178, and 755 minus 585, 170. So 178 and 170. That's where the frame rail does that. I measured here and here. So even though it comes back longer, the this part here is pretty close to the same. So I honestly, I don't know, I might just go like 174 in between ours. Oops, sorry. And that should be pretty close. Another thing to mention to you guys, the Jeep frame rail is this shape. The stiffeners are typically this shape, which match it, but everybody always welds here, and normally they're like that here, from what I can tell. Weld, 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 weld. Some of them kick up here, some of them don't. I would like to kick it up there. My bender can only bend up to 3 mil, especially if I'm bending a 700 mil piece. I don't really want to try to bend 700 mil piece of 5 mil steel in it. So I'm just gonna rock the 90 shape. because it doesn't get welded here, I'm not too sure if there's actually any benefits. You got contact here and you got contact here. The biggest issue I'm going to run into is water sitting in here. But how people weld it here and here, water's still going to sit in there anyway. Like, you're kidding yourself if you think a tight seal without fully welding isn't going to have water in it. Water gets everywhere, mate. So to counter that, we're probably just going to hole saw some holes in this face, drill all our little holes in the bottom, stitch weld along here, maybe a couple stitches up top, not too fussy about that, and drill some holes in the side there to get good drainage, maybe 4 or 5 good size holes, 10-12 mil holes. And we will spray a good amount of lanolin in there as well. So I guess it's time to cut that. I think I did tell you guys, I think it was 1400, I think it was. I think I said that already. Long. I might cut it to 1450 to allow for this kick. We're going to lose a little bit, a tiny little bit of material here. We're going to cut like a section of V out here, and probably just like a straight line out here because it's going to bend down, and a V out here to bend it up. So let's get going. Yeah, my bum's wet. I was sitting in water. I know, I can feel it. It's great. So 585 estimate, 568 estimate. Let's just rock it at 580. A 174. And I'll do a double check. Now you would have just seen me cut a small piece off, and that is so I can dummy fit the small piece before going to the big piece. And 100 mil looks like it's going to be nice. Just off the top. I'll get a better angle of that. You see it's not perfectly true on the bottom, the jack will fix that. That's the gap we're worried about. Further down, it's looking good. Might chop 20 mil off the back, just to bring it back to here to weld it nicely. Yeah, 10 mil off the top, I reckon, because once we jack it up flush, it's going to want to sit up there. So 10 mil off the top, 10 mil off the top, about 20 mil off the back, should give us a pretty nice fit. Now skip that other one, that second cut. I didn't want to bore you guys too much. We have it there cleaned up. Just knocked the top off a little bit, knocked all them tall dags down along the sides there. It will be time to chuck that on the car. We're going to drill all the little holes that are on the frame rail. I'm not interested in having water sit in there. So it'll be the moment of truth if those cuts are any good or not. If they're not, then bloody hell, man, that's going to be a pain in the ass. But we'll see how we go. Now immediately, we've got our first, not issue, but you know, we're going to have to drill that hole straight off the bat. So we won't just dummy it up in there. Mark where it's sitting, and we'll drill for that stud. Now we've got it just sitting there, pretty good fitment except for at the back here, it's kicking in. that might just be from cutting it. The total length ended up being 315 millimeters long. This, the top of that is 20 mil, and the hole, oh, I wrote it on there, but I can't remember. I'll tell you guys how far from the front it was. It ended up being 80 mil tall and 70 mil wide. Now we'll try to get this to pop into place. Now we have it sitting there, and you can see the gaps are quite good. We can pull that in with the F-clamp before we weld it, but everything's sitting out of focus. But everything's sitting nice and tight. Just had to pop that up a little bit, so we'll go along and we'll pop it up and tack it before we weld it fully. We'll come through here and we'll drill these out next. And make sure that all our drain holes still drain. The 20 mil cut was heaps, definitely don't need to go that wide, but that's alright. So I might trace it all, give us a bit easier to measure the side here, and we'll get to rip it off on the bench and we'll show you where we're at. We've got our traced line there, so it'll be easy to find that hole. Might even just do a big hole saw around it to save some time. We have a small one we have to pick up there, and that oval up the front, and that's pretty much it for the side. Underneath we do have a few holes in the centers that we missed, but the ones on the outside I put a paint mark next to, so we picked them up. We also marked a trans hole. These ones all got a good marking. Oh, we'll have to might measure back, get those two, and we got the big one at the front there. So come over to the bench, that sawhorse. Yeah, we see them. They're only just sort of showing 146, 461 back is that slit for the trans member, hole for the trans member. Yeah, we'll probably use a hole saw to get all these. So I didn't film the hole sawing, but we did dump a few in there, pretty big ones. That's the transfer cross member. That's the bolt for the transfer cross member. And then I was like, wow, probably goes through the oval, which is that one. We'll probably just clean these up around, like around the edges here to make it nicer. A couple more holes, big hole there. And we got the center ones that we couldn't see. Big one there, big one there. Someone's happy because he has chocolate, so that'll be fun. Let's get these ones drilled and we'll just rip into that side. The side's only got 2 or 3, so it'll be pretty quick. We got the frame rail on here. All the holes look pretty good. They're all well big enough. We did purposely go oversize on them because I didn't want to drill 2 or 3 holes trying to get it right. If I can just drill one hole a little bit big, all good, I'll take it. Could weld around them if you wanted to, but that's pretty much done. Got to mark the sides. Can't remember what it was. I think it might have been only 2, maybe 3. 3 on the sides. I've just marked above it. Draw my line down. So that's my mark above. Did the dummy test. You gotta make sure that this is on the bottom because this is still a 100mm piece. And that's our center of the hole. There, large oval. Small hole, large oval. So pretty safe just to drill them, and then we'll hole saw the holes we're going to weld as well. Just finished knocking up this first frame rail. It was a little bit ambitious, thinking we we're going to get it both done today, but I don't mind a little bit of ambition. The bloody slowed down a little bit by the kid wanted some attention in your Just gotta give him some attention if you want some attention. Play with him a bit, whatever. Hole saws copped just absolute abuse putting them holes in it. Obviously the small ones, well, we got plug welds. My engineer did not want to see any vertical welds on the chassis, so we've got some plug welds on the ends to stop it lifting, and we've got our weld, like, you know, we're going to weld to them. 2 plug welds on this side, going to weld to the back here. Obviously these little holes in the bottom are gonna weaken it a little bit, but it's still gonna be stronger than a rusted out frame rail, and that's sort of what we're going for. Actually, I've got to drill some drain holes still, so before I go too far, I'll drill those drain holes, give her a bit of bloody gal prime. Might just tack it on there and call it a night. I don't want to get one finished frame stiffener. She looks like Swiss cheese right now, but it should be alright when we get it in there. It's still pretty heavy. Hey guys, it is the next day. I got a bit carried away last night and I welded most of the plug welds up. I've just been grinding them down so they don't look so average. I would do a few things different. I'm really not happy with the welds in the hole saw holes. They just I've no doubt that they're strong, they just look shit. And with the welds, I've welded on top here and onto the back, so I really don't think that we need those holes. Like the small holes to plug weld probably be heaps. So on the other side I might just do the plug weld holes and then the top and bottom. Yeah, just like dirt's gonna sit in there. Like dirt's gonna sit in here. Oh, it has the opportunity to anyway. There'll be less cleanup making them. They'll be quicker to make. There's just no downside to it, and I don't think it's going to be any weaker, to be honest. If you have enough of them, we'll probably just go in like in a zigzag pattern along there, just with like I think it was about 12mm bit. Welded on alright. It really wasn't that hard to not blow through. I think I did blow through on one, but that was it. Pretty easy to fix up. Yeah, not stoked with it. Like, yeah, it looks a bit yucky, but that's alright. We do have some of the leftover plate up here. We've just got marked out 3 rectangles, and they'll be for our sliders. You know, we got to attach sliders to it somehow, and typically you just go around the chassis. You're not supposed to weld to chassis in Australia. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. You need engineering and all that jargon. So obviously we don't have that option just to bolt around a chassis rail, so got to weld them on and have the sliders bolt to them. So we'll add that. That's a pretty thick steel. I don't know what we're looking at there, at probably about 8mm-ish, so that should be ample with the 5mm. We'll just run a tap through that, 10mm tap, when the time comes. We got this the side cut to a point that should look familiar, 70mm and 80mm. I wouldn't mind having a half-time cleanup, damn boy, but I don't know, I think we'll just push through. Won't be a whole lot to do because we are just going to drill it with a 12mm this time. That'll should save a bit of time, especially because we're going to be welding on the side where the fuel lines are, so the less heat we can put into it, the better. You want a cuddle?
Yes.
Okay. And oh yeah, and say hi. Hi. Set the keys. Yeah, so we'll get this ground down. I'll go back, and I can't remember how far that first cut was. We'll just match the other side though, dummy up them holes, and we'll be done. we've got the left hand side on. Pretty good fit. I went 1350, but I knocked probably knocked 30 mil off of it, to be honest, so I don't know what the go is with that, and it still looks the same as the other side. Our V, we did a bit tighter, only did a 10 mil instead of a 20 mil gap. That looks a bit nicer. So if you are going to do it, maybe stick to a 10 mil. That looks pretty nice, to be honest. So you'd probably even get away with a 5 mil. And yeah, that's about it so far. So we'll have to go through underneath again. See half a little bit of our hole there. We'll have to mark out our holes. Get them all drilled out for some drainage. We went alright. Drilling those holes a little bit bigger always pays off. And underneath here, come up good. So next will be to get those rock slider frames on, and then we'll probably, well, that's it, drill the holes and plug weld it on here. And just like magic, we have 3 rock slider plates ready to go into that chassis. Got it clamped up. We just move the jack along as we weld the next section. So I think I'll just set up one of the little cameras that not too phased if they get damaged, because it spits a fair bit. I don't know if it's the weld through primer or what, but yeah, it spits heaps more when you go to weld through that stuff. Hey, it's welding through it good though. It's working out real good. Yeah, I guess we'll see how we go with that. That is the second half plug welded in, guys. Stoked we got these welded on the bench. So much nicer. I did have to duck out quickly, and we just got some welding gloves from Total Tools. Just going to wrap them around the bloody fuel rail. I don't know if I've already said this or not. Just while we weld that bottom section. Might just run a little bead along the top here first, so a little bit, couple of stitches. And then we'll rip in underneath through the other side, give her a bit of a wipe down with some Prepsol and give her a spray, and that'll be 2 for 2. What we do want to do as well is just seam seal, because I didn't weld all the way around on these. We're just going to seam seal top and bottom, same on the other side. Yeah, that'll just stop. Water will get in and come out because of the bottom, but dirt particularly, I don't want any like dirt and grit. Dirt honestly probably won't get in there. It's a nice tight, it is a tight fit up, but Just don't want to risk it, eh? So a bit of seam sealer, longevity of it all. Won't be doing this again in a couple of years, so I knocked the top off a few of the really ugly ones, but nothing too crazy. The plugs are pretty easy to do. So let's get these stitches done and wrap it up before it gets too late. It'll be nice to get inside before bloody 8 o'clock tonight. That'll be unreal. So we are underneath the car now, and you can see the fuel lines just above where we're wanting to weld here. Get our glove and probably just do like a zip tie around that sort of thing. Something like that. You can get 2 welds on there and keep majority of the heat away from the fuel line. I might chuck our next glove down on the next weld and we'll just rotate them along. Well guys, I survived welding that side. I don't know much to be able to see here. Not much. We only need those lights. Inside's all done. Cross members back on. Looks like I nicked a bit there. It's alright. Oh, I'll drag these lights over. Just hit it with the underbody coat. Yeah, hit it with the underbody coat, zinc, cross member. That's a wrap for that, I think. So I'm not going to delay too much longer. Thanks for tuning in, watching that. I think I'm on dinner duty tonight, and it is 7:30. So Dirty Bird's looking like a pretty good option. Thanks for watching, guys. The bloody death, fucking fight to the death as usual. Actually, before we go. Oh, we're missing the most important step, aren't we? Probably gonna be a 7:40 dinner. Heavy duty lanolin. I might not even film this, to be honest. We're just gonna get it, we're gonna spray it up in all these little water holes. Pretty much gonna go through the whole chassis, to be honest. Or subframe, whatever. Buddy, gonna spray it all up in there, all those little holes we drilled in that 90. Gonna give it a massive coating in there to try and bead that water out. Help not collect so much shit in there. Yeah, I'm happy to have that done. That was a longer than I thought, to be honest, but that's alright. Got it done. Hopefully we can rock them sliders not too far away. Coming up on the channel, we will have rear bar sliders. We're going to do an intake. I pulled the air, I want to do an intake anyway, but I pulled the air filter out the other day, and there's heaps of mud in that air box. That's a terrible design. Well, I don't know what you guys do, but where we are in South East Queensland, there's quite a few mud holes and water crossings, and that's no good. We're going to chuck a snorkel on it. We have a 4-inch lift. Man, we've got a few things to do, so hang around if you're interested in any of that. And I'll see you on the next one.